Welcome to the first of two videos we prepared for you this month. This one is all about the ways we can collect information about student learning, which we typically call assessment. First of all, it is important to remember the difference between formative and summative assessment. While your mentee probably has an understanding of the difference, newer teachers tend to emphasize summative assessment over formative. We encourage you to explain to your mentor that formative assessment, whether classroom-based or team-based common formative assessment, but to stress that it's about collecting information today that will help you to decide what to do tomorrow. That's what makes it formative. And that's where the most of our assessment energy should go, to formative assessment. In this video, we're going to point out some of the resources available to your mentee to help her collect actionable assessment data. In this month's companion video, we make suggestions for how you, as a mentor, can help your mentee use the assessment data that was collected. Each video, however, can stand on its own. They are complementary, but they can stand on their own. Chapter 6, and Why Didn't I Learn This in College, is all about assessment. The chapter is appropriately titled, Making Assessment a Learning Experience. While there is a legitimate amount of summative assessment that is necessary for reporting or for external requirements such as state testing, most of our assessment efforts must be directed to the assessment for learning. Now we're going to go and review some of the resources in the book. So if you want to hit pause and make sure you have your book handy, it's not a bad idea. And of course, don't forget the sticky notes.
We want your book to just be filled with sticky notes so that you can come back to it and find what you're looking for.
Right.
Let's take a look, like you just said, on a few assessment strategies in a tiny bit of detail. So I'm going to take page 141 right now in the book, Why Didn't I? And it's about pre-assessment. And I'm afraid that that's one of the areas that gets overlooked quite often. So remind your mentee that the point of pre-assessment is to inform your unit planning so you know where to begin and what exactly kids are going to need you to focus on.
Pages 142 through 145 describe ways to check for understanding along the way while instruction is happening that are easy to implement and offer good data. Encourage your mentee to think beyond recall or memorization when seeking information about student understanding. Now, many of the active learning strategies we addressed last month can be great sources of data about student learning. It's just how you look at it. The active learning strategy, yes, involves students in the learning process in an obviously active way. But if you collect data while that's happening, you can learn all about the progress kids are making or maybe not making along the way, if we just pay attention to that information.
You know what, Jeff? Let's go back to the ovals for just a second and think them through. I'm going to focus on oval 2, and the question there is, how will we and the students know whether they're successful? And so the area that I'll talk about right now on pages 149 to 155 fill that need right there for strategies on how to do that. How do the students become involved? So there's peer, and then there's self-assessment for students. They're so important, and they're also active, engaged. They're very engaging. They provide an opportunity for kids to think critically and be responsible for their own progress. So again, go to pages 149 through 155 and flip through them with your mentee to find actual examples from other teachers' practices across the nation that maybe you can adapt and adopt.
Now, it's possible that your mentee wasn't taught how to design an effective and efficient paper assessment, right? Especially a performance assessment. So one of the things that Paula Rutherford included in this book was a number of pages, they happen to be 157 through 160, that are just assessment basics, right? A 101 course on making good assessments. So if you discover or have discovered that your mentee needs some help with good designing and constructing good assessments, steer them to these pages.
Okay, true confessions. These are my favorite pages, 161 to 163. Now, You have to believe that assessment is primarily for learning in order to really embrace these strategies that teachers have shared with us. So it's the end of the chapter, and it suggests that assessment in general, the whole process, is a learning opportunity, or could be a learning opportunity for students. It gives them second chances. It gives them motivation, gives students motivation for really going deeper and figuring out what they don't know currently, what they need to bone up on. So I got to tell you, the students love these strategies. They're so excited when teachers all of a sudden say, up, blue light special, or up, extra innings. So go take a peek. Now, at this time of the year, I'm just going to take you where you are right now. This time of the year, you're likely to know a whole lot about your mentee and how they're using data assessment, formative assessment data, to make their instructional decisions. So as you think about a next session with your mentor or your mentee, consider focusing on assessment as the topic. You can tell them it was our idea if you need a bridge into why you're talking about assessment right now. But think about what you've observed in terms of assessment practices and talk with them about what kind of decisions they're making using that assessment data. Now, if you can, shift that conversation into formative assessment as quickly as you can, because it's about instant results for students. It's about what I'm going to do next in order to plan the next instructional move that I have.
So once again, chapter 6, we went through the pages pretty quickly here. You can slow it down, look through those pages yourself. You, as a mentor, try to decide, if you can, where to steer your mentee. There's lots of good stuff in here, lots of good resources.